Hi folks, Darryl Legacy here, Instructional Designer for Hack. This video will help you ensure your images are usable and accessible for everyone. Images can help make your course more interesting, and they're also sometimes the best choice to convey certain kinds of information. A photo of someone doing a yoga pose, an exploded view of a machine, or a drawing of an electrical circuit are great examples of using images to enhance learning. However, when images convey information, they need to have textual descriptions so that visually impaired users can still understand them. Without these descriptions, a blind or visually impaired user would simply know there is an image, but nothing about what it shows. These text descriptions are called alternative text, or alt text for short. They can be attached to the image in a way that no one sees them unless they're using screen reader software. It's not just an ethical responsibility to add these, but a legal one as well. If you've ever uploaded an image to D2L, Word, or many other programs, you may have noticed that it offers, or requires, you to add alt text. You may not have noticed, or you may have ignored it, but you should learn to add this, as it's the only way a visually impaired student will learn anything from your images. The amount of detail you provide depends on how the photo is being used. For many images, this alt text may be only a sentence or two. If the above photo of a woman in child's pose is being used for a yoga class, it might have alt text like this: photo of a woman with her forehead to the ground, belly resting on her thighs, with her arms spread out far in front of her. Especially if there's other text explaining in more detail how to do this pose, that would be plenty of information in the alt text. However, if there's no other text describing the pose and sighted students would be using only the photo, the alt text may need to say more about how far apart the knees should be, whether the arms are crossed, etc. Let's look at how to do this in D2L first. A quick note: if you just choose the Upload File option in one of your modules, it won't ask you or allow you to add alt text. That's why this is not a good option for images, because a student using a screen reader would not be able to learn anything from that image. Instead, choose Create a File. Give it a name, and then choose the Insert Image button, which is the camera icon. Click Upload and find the file on your computer. After you click the Add button, D2L opens a new window asking you about alternative text. Add as much description as needed for a student to get the information, even if they can't see it. For this beach photo, illustrating the change in clothing for a sociology course, it might say, about 24 men and women pose for a photo on the beach, wearing swimsuits that cover most of their body from their thighs to their shoulders. None of the women or men show their stomachs. Add that text to the alternative text box and click OK. If you hover your mouse over the image here, it will display that text you just added. The limit for alt text in D2L is 200 characters, including spaces. That means that if you need anything longer than this, it can't go in the alt text box. In that case, the best option is to paste the text directly below the image inside the HTML window, and have the alt text say something like, photograph of people at the beach in the 1930s, described in more detail below. That way, sighted users can just skip the text if they want, and visually impaired users will know to keep going to get to the full text description. Adding alt text in Word or PowerPoint is quite similar to D2L. Add an image using the Insert tab, and then clicking the Pictures button. Unlike D2L, Word and PowerPoint won't automatically prompt you for alt text. Click on the image and choose the Format tab if it doesn't automatically open. You'll see a button called Alt Text. Click that, and it will allow you to add your description in the frame on the right. In Word and PowerPoint, you can also ask it to generate a description for you. It will search the web for that image and try to retrieve alt text it finds that others have attached to it. This sometimes works okay, but it won't usually give much detail. so you should decide whether it's enough for your students to get everything they need to from the image. For many less common images, it won't provide much at all. You probably noticed that all these programs give you an option to mark the image as decorative. Sometimes images are used just to add color or engagement, but they don't actually add any meaning or learning. Common examples would be a smiley face at the top of a D2L module, or a photo of an instructor on the course homepage. These images aren't necessary, and a user is not missing any information if they don't see them. In these cases, they're truly decorative images, and can be marked as such in whatever program you're using. They don't need any alt text because the image isn't actually giving any useful information. Marking them as decorative just means that a screen reader won't read anything for them. It can be tempting to just mark all images as decorative, but it should really be restricted only to images that are truly not necessary. Ask yourself if a student would miss anything if their browser somehow couldn't render the image. If the answer is yes, it needs alt text. If you're using charts, graphs, or tables, it can be pretty difficult to make them usable for a student with visual impairments. Whenever possible, upload the actual file from Word or Excel, or create a table in D2L instead of just uploading a picture. If you have to use a picture for this kind of complicated information, you'll need to give more detailed alt text. Consider the following bar graph. If you have the underlying data table, you could upload that, or just give the exact numbers, like this. A graph showing the 2010 population of selected cities in California. Los Angeles, 3.7 million. San Diego, 1.3 million. San Jose, 0.9 million. San Francisco, 0.8 million. If all you have is the graph as an image, you'll need to give estimates in your alt text. A graph showing 2010 population, with Los Angeles about 3.75 million, San Diego about 1.25 million, San Jose about 0.8 million, and San Francisco about 0.75 million. Remember that it may be more than 200 characters, meaning the description will need to be placed below the chart in D2L. Creating alt text can be challenging if you have a complex image or a complicated chart. But it shouldn't take much time for most images, and you should try to get in the habit of making alt text every time you use an image. If you have questions or want any help creating alt text, contact me or someone else in the CDI team.